All right, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to look at a third way to solve quadratic equations. So the first we did was we did by factoring. So you split it apart into binomials. And then once you had those two, you set each one equal to 0. So that was your zero product property. Second one we did on Monday or Tuesday, where you graphed it and then found the two solutions. So graphed it, found this point and this point. So you had your two solutions that way. Today we're going to look at a third method. It's called solving quadratics by square roots. So obviously from the title you're going to see that it has to do with square roots. So just to review square roots, like the square root of 16 is both 4 and negative 4. So remember you've got both those because 4 squared is 16 and negative 4 squared is 16. So what we're going to do here, we have x squared. So the opposite of squaring something is square rooting something. So we're going to solve it by that way. Square root. So x equals 4 and negative 4. So what that means is on your graph, look kind of like that. That'll be at negative 4. That'll be at positive 4. Those are two solutions. All right, second one. Same kind of thing. Square rooting both sides. So you'd have t equals negative 5 and positive 5. All right. Just to concede, these first two have the same thing in common. They both have the square on one side, and they have a number on the other. Now, they're not always going to be that way, but one thing to watch out for is these do not have a bx term. They don't have a middle term. They just have the square and the number. All right, there's a couple more. So t squared minus 5 equals 9. So we want to get the t squared by itself. So we're going to add 5 to both sides, so plus 5 on both sides. So t squared equals 14. And then you're going to square root that. So t equals plus or minus the square root of 14. And you can leave it that way. Leave it that way. It's not a big deal if you leave it that way. You can get the answer, which is going to be like 3.5, 3.4, somewhere in there, but not really important to have that. Next one we've got, we can subtract 7 from both sides. Subtract 7, subtract 7. So r squared equals negative 3. Now, can you take the square root of a negative? The answer is no, you can't. Well, you can, but you can't in this case. So that means is that in our graph, our solution, there isn't one. So it's going to look something like this, where the vertex is above the x-axis, so it never crosses it. It could also be below the x-axis, like that, so it never crosses, but there's just no solution. So you could write no solution for that one. Solution. All right. Last one, we've got 25k squared equals 9. So we're going to divide by 25 on both sides. So k squared equals 9 over 25. And when I get square root here, we're going to square root here. Now, we've done some square roots before. We've done some rules with square roots, so you got to remember what those are. So as a reminder, when you have the square root of 9 over 25, it's going to be the square root of 9 over square root of 25, which in this case is just 3 over 5, so it's 3/5. And again, it's positive 3/5 and negative 3/5. Good. All right, so I want you to use on your own. Take a second, solve the next two. All right, here we go. So first one, adding 12 to both sides. So n squared equals 36. Square root. N equals 6 over negative 6, one of those two. And this bottom one, just divide by 36 on both sides. So t squared equals 25 over 36. So square rooting those. So then t equals the square root of 25 over square root of 36, which is 5 over 6, or 5/6. And it's positive and negative 5/6. Okay. So those are your ones you got today. We got a couple more we're going to go through here. So the next one's going to be a little bit more tricky. I'm going to show you that one. just because the next two are actually that way. So we want to get x by itself. So we can't do the square root first because there's 5 out front. We have to get rid of it. So we're going to divide by 5 on both sides. So x plus 1 squared equals 6. Now, here's where that issue comes in. This is the point where you have to square root it, because you have only the square left. So we're going to square root on both sides. But what we're left with then is x plus 1 equals the square root of 6. So x plus 1 equals the square root of 6, because we square rooted on both sides. So here's a case where you do the square root. So you'd actually figure out what the square root of 6 is. So let's figure that out. Square root of 6 is 2.449. Okay, so x plus 1 equals 2.45. And I always want you to run to 2 decimal places. Which one you want to do? 2 decimal places. Sorry for the announcement. Now here's where the thing comes in, because remember it's 2.5 or negative 2.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to split it up into 2 different equations. Say x plus 1 equals 2.45, or x plus 1 equals negative 2.45, like that. So then we're going to subtract 1 from both sides on everything. So x equals 1.45, or x equals negative 3.45. Those are your 2 answers. All right. There's one more at the bottom there. I want you to go ahead and try that one out. And we'll get back together and try it together. All right, so first thing you have to do, like on the top one, divide by 3. So m minus 4 squared equals 4. We're going to square root both sides. So m minus 4 equals 2. Remember, positive and negative 2. So now we split it apart. M minus 4 equals 2, or m minus 4 equals negative 2. So m, because we're adding 4 to both sides, equals 6, or adding 4, m equals 2. So we got 6, 4, 2. All right, there's your lesson for today. Tomorrow we're going to go through something else that's going to be a little tricky. It's got a big formula for it, but we get to sing a little bit. So your sub tomorrow will be Mrs. Petty, so you'll see her a little bit. And have a good night.